Ilia Topuria's manager Malky Kawa has fired back at Ali Abdelaziz after Ali claimed that Usman Nurmagomedov would head kick Topuria and make him quit. Kawa didn't hold back in his response. Here's what he had to say.
All right, so now back to the MMA stuff, right? If you see my last post, you got this guy. He's sitting there with two of his clients, right? And one of them happens to be Usman. And they're sitting here talking about his next opponent. And then, oh yeah, he will beat this guy, and he will beat that guy, and he will do this, and he will do that. Guy, shut the f*** up. Ilia Topuria will fucking annihilate 100% of your roster, including, if we fought Gaethje again, buddy, he will fucking beat the shit out of him. We all know that Ilia was better. He had a bad night. Your boy did good. Congratulations. Stop hyping up the other shit. You sound like a fucking clown. Ilia Topuria is still, in my book, the #1 fighter in the world. I promise you guys, when the comeback comes, you will see what happens. Paddy, Pimblett, Islam, Usman, Gaethje, it doesn't matter who, doesn't matter when, okay? You guys will see a masterclass. That's what that is. But to sit here as an agent on the podcast of your clients and be like, oh yeah, you're gonna actually lose to this guy, because behind the scenes, you don't want that fight.
I'm still a very small channel, so if you're enjoying this video, please hit that like and subscribe. It really helps me grow. Let's get back to the news. Coach Javier Mendez believes a victory at UFC 330 would put Islam Makhachev among the greatest fighters in MMA history. The GOAT debate remains one of the most discussed topics in the MMA world, with fans and analysts having their own opinions on who should be considered the greatest fighter of all time. Speaking to Damon Marson of MMA Fighting, Mendez argued that if Makhachev defeats Garry, it would be difficult not to consider him one of the greatest fighters in MMA history.
Sky's the limit as to how far he's going to go. My opinion is I think he's bordering on close to being the greatest of all time. You know, like this win, hopefully we get by this one and then one more. Then I don't know if there's going to be any question on who's the greatest fighter of all time. I think the Islam Makhachev should be considered in that picture, you know, in my opinion. To my point exactly, you know, it's kind of hard not to put him in that conversation. Look at all the records he holds. If he wins this one, you know, which we can't say we're going to win 100% because nothing's 100%. Garry is a tough customer, but I feel we're going to win, and I feel Islam's going to dominate. But when that happens, like I'm expecting he's going to be in that picture. Everybody's going to be saying that about him, and they should, rightfully so. He would have proven it, you know, by his performance on August 15th.
Earlier this week, fans were accusing Ilia Topuria of being gay after footage emerged of him partying in Ibiza. Ilia was with his manager Malky Kawa yesterday, and Malky trolled him over the footage.
Can somebody please tell him that I'm not in that video? Stop. Somebody tell this guy.
Conor McGregor had some trouble getting a Mac energy drink delivered to him by drone.
So guys, right now the zone is delivering for Conor McGregor. Right now the zone is delivering energy to Conor McGregor. Yeah! Hallelujah, baby! Where there's a will, there's a way. That's already the delivery. You want to shoot back on it? There we go. Yeah!
PFL CEO John Marson expresses his frustration with ESPN and how the partnership has played out so far.
I've expressed frustration, which I stand behind, by the lack of commitment and support that ESPN has been willing to give us this year. But I don't dismiss ESPN as a massive entity with a fantastic play.
Mauricio Hoofty posted footage of him preparing for his fight against Tsarukyan at UFC 331 while wearing Chuck Liddell shorts. Joe Rogan believes Tom Aspinall has been treated unfairly in the aftermath of UFC 321. After undergoing double eye surgery following his fight with Cyril Gane, Aspinall was accused by many fans of exaggerating the severity of his injuries. Now, during a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience with Rico Verhoeven as a guest, Rogan came to Aspinall's defense, saying the Brit got really fucked over in the fight against Gane. Verhoeven, a longtime friend of Aspinall, echoed Rogan's comments, insisting that Aspinall would never quit or exaggerate an injury because he has the heart of a true fighter.
Well, of course, he's a very good friend of mine.
Oh, really? Oh, that's right.
We trained.
I've seen video of you guys training.
Yeah, we
together.
trained so much already for like, I think close to 10 years.
Man, he got a bad deal. He got really f***ed over for that fight. The way people got upset at him for stopping the fight with those eye pokes, to me, that drove me crazy. Like, what do you expect the guy to do?
Yeah.
He's defending the heavyweight title. He get poked in the eyes and he can't fucking see. And he's had 2 eye surgeries since then.
And he's the nicest guy. He's the nicest guy, and he works incredibly hard. And he would never, even though, because I understand where it comes from the people to a certain extent, because they feel like, hey, Gane was doing so good in the beginning of the fight, but it was just the beginning of the fight. It was just like the first round or whatever. So it's possible that, hey, because of some ring rust, you had to get into it, and then the fight ain't over till it's over, right? So you can have an opinion about that the first round, and he get an eye poke. Oh, now he's gonna stop because he knew he was behind or whatever. He would never in whatever world do that, because he has
no.
a
If you
fighter
looked
heart.
at the eye poke, he was knuckle deep in his eyeball.
Yeah, it was like gone.
On the Deepwater Show, Dustin Poirier, Jorge Masvidal, Dean Thomas, and Chris Weidman discussed the wildest crowds they fought in front of.
Hey, where's the wildest crowd that you've ever fought in?
Probably the backyards in Miami.
On Long Island, Nassau Coliseum.
Is Kelvin Gastelum?
Kelvin Gastelum,
Yeah.
It was the first main event on Long Island ever. People going nuts. It was amazing. When I got the win, it felt like I won a world title.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I was on a 3-fight skid before that.
Bro, honestly, anytime you fight Conor McGregor, so many people from Ireland travel over. They're crazy. They're at the press conference. They're at the weigh-ins. They're yelling. The fans are crazy when you fight a guy like that. Somebody of that star power. So all 3 of those fights were the craziest crowds. What about you?
I'd say Hawaii. I fought Max Holloway's uncle. Bozo.
Get out of here.
You being serious?
Pauling. Yeah. I fought his uncle, Bozo Paul.
George St. Pierre has responded to Conor McGregor. Conor had this to say this week following his knee surgery.
What's up, folks? The Mac is back, baby. My knee is repaired. Surgery was a success. And I'm on the road to recovery. That should tell you all you need to know about my mindset. Straight into surgery, knee repaired, and on the road. Let's go. I want to give a shout out to Dominic Cruz, who returned from multiple ACLs to recapture his bantamweight crown. George St. Pierre had multiple ACLs. Don't know whether he returned after his second ACL. However, he's doing backflips and his movement is still stellar.
GSP reposted that video on X. He wrote, "Let's go, Conor." Robert Whittaker wants a big name for his next light heavyweight fight, and a former champion appears ready to answer the call. In July, Whittaker successfully made his light heavyweight debut, finishing Nikita Krylov in the 3rd round at UFC 329. The victory immediately earned him a spot in the 205-pound rankings, and now Rob has his sights set on another top contender. Speaking to Michael Bisping and Paul Felder on the BYM podcast, Whittaker mentioned Magomed Ankalayev as a potential opponent while shutting down a possible matchup with Paulo Costa, pointing out that he already defeated him at middleweight.
I'd love to get in there with like Ank. I'd love to get in there with, well, Jan just had a loss, but I would have loved to have jumped in there with him. That Bogdan would have been great. Like anyone up. Like people keep throwing the name Costa out there, but I fought him before. There's a lot of other guys to fight as well. I won't fight the boys that I train with. You know, if we reach a point where we're 1, 2, and 3 with me, Carlos, and Nav, then I'm sure we can all sit down and find a way to get paid bank. Yeah. But like there's a lot of people to fight, you know, and I've still got some work to do for myself in the rankings. I'm enjoying the progression. I'm enjoying coming up and going through the rankings again. It feels like a new chapter.
However, former UFC light heavyweight champion Jan Blachowicz, who recently suffered a knockout loss to Navajo Sterling, has thrown his name into the mix, tweeting, "Hey, at Robert Whittaker, let's turn your words into action." Would you guys like to see Blachowicz vs. Whittaker? Let us know in the comments below. Adrian Broner says he wants to invite King Green back to his gym, but this time he wants to spar Green himself. If you missed it, Green showed up last week and got the better of Broner's friend, Bang, in a sparring session. Bang is a professional boxer with a 19-1 record. Chael Sonnen later offered Broner $50,000 to spar Green, but yesterday, an intoxicated Broner said he doesn't even want the money. He wants Green to come back so they can spar for free.
But Adrian, if you would like to spar with Bobby Green,
he said, "Adrian, if you would like to spar Bobby Green, I'll personally pay you $50,000.
and we'll pay you $50,000.
You heard that, cuh?
My team at Bad Guy Inc. will bring the cameras, and we will pay you $50,000.
They said
I'll spar him again for $50,000.
They said they'll bring the cameras, and we will personally pay you $50,000 if you spar cut.
$50,000.
Tell them cough up some more money though.
Some more money though. My mama though.
You bring cash too though. You don't even need to do that.
I don't need to do that. Guess what though? The only thing that clarified me is that though, I get in there though. You get it's not there.
Get in there then.
Alright. Man, invite her back.
They talking about giving you $50,000.
No, it's like,
Ilia Topuria's manager Malky Kawa went off on Ali Abdelaziz today for saying that Usman Nurmagomedov would make Ilia quit if they fought.
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something. The fight I want, if he go to the UFC, I want Ilia Topuria, first fight. First fight.
Woo!
Why not? Listen, he ran out of gas. He talked a lot of things. He wrote a lot of checks, couldn't cash. Guess what? I'm bringing the whole fire. And if these people want this fight to happen, we can make it happen. But I'm gonna tell you something. Kamaru Usman, talk about tough fight. Will knock out Dan Hooker. He will submit Dan Hooker. I love Paddy Pimblett. I think he's a great guy.
Right.
Usman will stop him in under 2 rounds. I think he will make Ilia quit. He will hit kick him, knock him out flat. The only fight I can see competitive, him and Arman. Charles Oliveira, he would make him quit. He will make him quit. What Charles Oliveira can do to him. Strike with him, good luck with that. Take him down, good luck with that. And he will absolutely demolish Max Holloway. Demolish Max Holloway. Because he can take him. Let me tell you why.
I love it, Ali. I love it.
Let me tell you why. I love Max. I respect Max. Max can't wrestle for and he can't grapple for Usman can grapple or can wrestle. Guess what? Max he have great striking, but no, he cannot mix it up like Usman. The only a real competitor with Usman is Arman Tsarukyan.
Sean O'Malley thinks Usman Nurmagomedov would likely beat Paddy Pimblett.
Versus Paddy, I'd probably pick Usman, I think. God. I don't know. Paddy surprises me all the time, bro.
Yes.
Who's bigger of those two?
Who's bigger?
Probably
definitely.
Paddy.
Who?
Probably Paddy.
Paddy.
For sure.
They're probably similar size.
Yeah.
Usman's big, bro.
Javier Mendez believes the UFC will not give Usman Nurmagomedov an immediate title shot if he signs with the promotion. According to Mendez, doing so would essentially prove that the best lightweight in the world was competing outside the UFC.
In an ideal world, because of the fact that we won't get the champion, if he was to sign over with the UFC, there's no way they would give us a title shot, because you know what that would say, right? If we come in and we destroy the champion, that just gives credibility to PFL and all these other organizations, as you don't have the best fighters in the world. You have the most fighters in the world, but not necessarily the number one, because that will prove that PFL actually has some number one. So that will never be proven. So they won't do that. That'd be suicide on their part, because that just means we're letting the competition in. So they won't do that. So let's forget about, like you said, forget about Justin. That isn't going to happen. So I would say, in my opinion, for me, the one I would want to see, because I think it's a fun fight, because a lot of people get into it, Paddy the Baddy. That's the one I want, because that's gonna be his introduction to a lot of fans on one side, a lot of fans on the other side, and Paddy is bringing the baddies. You know that.
Yes.
You know that. So it'll be a fun fight for me. He just wants to continue to see his brothers grow, and his, personal favorite to me is his cousin. His cousin. He's watched him, grow from when he was a little kid. When he first told me about Usman, Usman Nurmagomedov, he told me when I went to Dagestan for the first time, he said, Coach, this one guy kid is my cousin. He's Umar's younger brother. He's going to be something. He goes, and at that particular time, Habib told me about Usman. Then, of course, when I trained with Usman, I went, damn, this kid is exactly that. From a fighter perspective, he's the best fighter athlete I've ever trained. Not from an athlete perspective, because from an athlete perspective, I mean, you got to give it to Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker was the greatest athlete, not the fighter though, greatest athlete. There's a difference, you know that. So Usman's the greatest athlete fighter that I've ever trained. And because he does things that nobody can teach. There's things that kid does I can't teach. I cannot teach him. And I didn't teach him. He did it on his own.
UFC owners have finally revealed how much money the promotion lost while staging the historic UFC White House card. According to TKO Group Holdings' second quarter financial report, UFC Freedom 250 resulted in an approximate $30 million loss for the company. The event was always expected to be a major financial hit because, unlike a traditional UFC event, there were no ticket sales or live gate revenue. However, the promotion managed to offset some of the costs through sponsorships and global partnerships. TKO Chief Financial Officer Andrew Schleimer addressed the event during a call with investors, explaining that UFC incurred significantly higher than normal costs, but was able to partially recover some expenses. Initial estimates suggested the UFC White House card could cost more than $60 million, but the final loss was reduced thanks to the partnership secured around the event. Despite the financial setback, the event did not significantly impact UFC's overall business. TKO reported that UFC revenue increased by 29% year over year, reaching $535.7 million in the second quarter of 2026, compared to $119.8 million during the same period the previous year. The increase was largely driven by the UFC's new broadcast deal with Paramount, which contributed to a $64.7 million boost in media rights revenue after the deal began in January. While UFC Freedom 250 ultimately lost around $30 million, TKO expected the one-time event to have a major financial impact. In the bigger picture, the company believes the investment was worth it as the UFC continues to grow. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the latest MMA news. And I'll see you in the next video.